In case you're still wondering what is driving the elite's agenda, Klaus Schwab's right-hand man Yuval Noah Harari, who is known as the prophet among the Davos crowd, has doubled down on the elite's plans to play God. In his deeply disturbing manifesto, Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow, Harari drops strong hints about the traits the elites are planning to gene-edit into future generations of compliant, docile human beings by building a genetic child catalogue. We apologise for the unpleasant robotic voice reading Harari's text, but it kind of fits his soulless godless vision for humanity.
Wouldn't you want to save her from years of misery by a quick and painless intervention in the test tube? And while you are at it, why not give the child a little push? Life is hard and challenging even for healthy people. So it would surely come in handy if the little girl had a stronger than normal immune system, an above-average memory, or a particularly sunny disposition. And even if you don't want that for your child, what if the neighbors are doing it for theirs? Would you have your child lag behind? And if the government forbids all citizens from engineering their babies, what if the North Koreans are doing it and producing amazing geniuses, artists, and athletes that far outperform ours? And like that, in baby steps, we are on our way to a genetic child catalogue.
Harari couldn't resist reminding us that only a select few of the Earth's current billions of inhabitants will be lucky enough to survive the great depopulation.
Most people will probably play only a minor role, if any, in these projects. Even if famine, plague and war become less prevalent, billions of humans in developing countries and seedy neighborhoods will continue to deal with poverty, illness, and violence even as the elites are already reaching for eternal youth and godlike powers.
They want us under a totalitarian control system, and they want us genetically incapable of resistance. To achieve this, Harari and his cronies are resurrecting eugenics with a modern twist.
When we successfully connect brains and computers, will we use this technology only to cure schizophrenia? If anybody really believes this, then they may know a great deal about brains and computers, but far less about the human psyche and human society. Once you achieve a momentous breakthrough, you cannot restrict its use to healing and completely forbid using it for upgrading. Of course, humans can and do limit their use of new technologies. Thus the eugenics movement fell from favor after the Second World War, and though trade in human organs is now both possible and potentially very lucrative, it has so far remained a peripheral activity.
Harari has been excitedly declaring that God is dead, and the WEF are assuming divine powers of creation and destruction, and the mainstream media has almost completely ignored their evil agenda.
Developing even bigger powers than ever before, we are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
While the media has provided cover for these techno-communist psychopaths, the elite have been allowed to work towards the eradication of our sovereignty at national and individual levels. This is serfdom 2.0. They've admitted that their intention is to deprive us of everything, consume insects as food, reside in confined spaces, and be desensitized by virtual reality devices and pharmaceutical drugs. In this future, the global state will own everything. They will even own us. The implementation of this plan is already underway.
Introducing Ectolife, the world's first artificial womb facility, powered entirely by renewable energy. The facility features 75 highly equipped labs. Each state-of-the-art lab can accommodate up to 400 growth pods or artificial wombs. Every pod is designed to replicate the exact conditions that exist inside the mother's uterus. A single building can incubate up to 30,000 lab-grown babies per year. Ectolife allows your baby to develop in an infection-free environment, thanks to a system controlled by artificial intelligence. Each baby receives custom nutrients tailored to their needs. Prior to placing the fertilized embryo of your baby inside the growth pod, in vitro fertilization is used to create and select the most viable and genetically superior embryo, giving your baby a chance to develop without any biological hurdles. And if you want your baby to stand out and have a brighter future, our Elite package offers you the opportunity to genetically engineer the embryo before implanting it into the artificial womb.
This is a globalist totalitarian dictatorship, and we must spread the word about their plans so we can defeat them. Klaus Schwab has told us that China is the role model for the future of the world. Is this the world you want your children and your children's children to grow up in? At this hour, it's not hyperbole to say that most of our basic freedoms and the freedom of future generations depend on how we respond to the threat of this globalist coup. These shadowy elites have been working quietly behind the scenes for decades, but in recent years we've exposed them to the light, and we are slowly but surely winning the fight. More and more people are waking up to their agenda. Here at The People's Voice, we are determined to continue doing our part to expose their crimes.